So, welcome everybody. Welcome back. We decided to start this year a recognition award ceremony. And there are two people I cannot think, or actually three people, excuse me, because I think of Laura, then Bill's married to her. Two sets of individuals that could not be more worthy of being both the Public Safety Handler of the Year and the Community Partner Handler of the Year for what we do. First up are Laura and Bill Gordon, police officers with Greenville, Mass. And now, the dog that is being carried is not their dog. He's just being hijacked for a temporary moment of this. This is a pleasure that has been, I've just been so excited over the last 3 or 4 months of them. I met Bill, I'm going to go off of this, I apologize. I met Bill at Sandy Hook. Great big Benard, St. Bernards, 165 pounds St. Bernards. Drooling, happy St. Bernards. State police, fire, just wrapping themselves up, coming up in the uniforms, and it's Clarence drool, it's Rosie's drool, and it was hysterical. Bill covered the public safety side, I was over on the school side of life. Our paths crossed again, and he helped me co-found Canine First Responders. He has taught me so much. Together we've partnered Sandy Hook, Boston Marathon, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, U.S., what? DC, yep, United States Capitol. Clarence is memorialized in a mural in the United States Capitol. That's the impact that he had there. The only other dog that had an impact that's talked about, and which we'll talk about in a little bit. Bill and Laura created the first police comfort dog program in the nation. They use it for their department, and he shared his program. And many of the public safety officers here today, their program is a genesis of one aspect or another from Bill's program and community engagement. Laura also does a bloodhound as well. Comfort dog to her own sense, I guess, at times, with that. But what they've done together as a legacy, they've probably had 2 to 3, if not 400 departments with some nexus to their program that's been started. The legacy of the U.S. Capitol and the officers, I actually was on the phone with one last night, and she's just like, how are the dogs? You know, what's going on? That's the first question. Not how are you, how's Bill? No, they don't talk about that. And so I am very, very pleased to give our first annual award, and I'm going to read this if I can. No, Jen, we're not going to read your award. Right? To Laura and Bill Gordon, in grateful recognition of your service to those in need and for creating a national legacy of comfort dogs that will bring comfort and hope far for generations to come. The Comfort Dogs and Public Safety Recipient Award 2026. Also with this award comes a cash association with it to pay for your parking.
How about the gas?
Well, between the two, you have it just covered. And that's a really good point. Then I say a few words at this point. I'm so proud of both of them because what they've done has been from the generosity of their heart. What they've shared is from the generosity of their heart. And what they continue to give back to their communities is the same. And so, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we'll let you.
So I don't have anything prepared because Brad told me about 3 minutes ago that I was going to speak. So I don't have anything prepared, but he said the best thing is to talk from the heart. And I thought it would be good to share how we got into this and how, you know, the nexus of how this all started. And where it really started is I had a couple St. Bernards, and I enjoyed working with the St. Bernards. We did dog shows and we did everything that, you know, people do with their pets. But as I worked, I got darker and darker and darker, and I had a series of very traumatic calls about a child death every about 2 months for an entire year. And it really started affecting me, and I got PTSD out of it. And I became very, very dark, very, very angry person, and that's not who I am. So I went to get help because that's what you're supposed to do. And I was a lieutenant in the police department, and I thought to myself, if I saw this in another officer, what would I tell that officer to do? And that would be, you need to go get help. So I had to live by that. So I went and got help, and I went to a place called On-Site Academy, which is a place for first responders that have PTSD and other afflictions to be able to recover. Very wonderful place, and if you can look it up, that would be great. And when I went there, they asked me, they could tell I was just miserable, I was just not a happy person. They said, find one thing that you really enjoy doing. And I'm like, there's nothing, I'm a cop, I enjoy nothing. And they're like, no, really, one thing. I'm like, okay, I like working with white dogs. And they're like, okay, you need to concentrate on working with your dogs. So I said, okay. So we thought about it, and I thought, you know, my dogs are so well behaved that maybe they could be my service dog. So they started coming with me. I started bringing them to the grocery stores. I brought them to the Home Depot is great for dogs. And I started bringing them with me and training them. And I brought them to a training center, and we did that. And then I started bringing them to that on-site academy. And we realized that when I was there with the dogs, that the dogs were not only helping me, but they were helping other people too. So we started thinking, wow, you know, what am I going to do? You know, because if I can't be a police officer, what am I going to do? You know, maybe I could do something with comfort dogs. So we started doing that, and Sandy Hook, unfortunately Sandy Hook happened. And there was a cry out on social media, if you have a comfort dog, please come to Sandy Hook. They need comfort dogs. And that went across the entire Northeast. So if you can imagine, hundreds of comfort dogs all showed up, all unvetted, all untrained, fighting with each other. The handlers weren't prepared to deal with what they were dealing with, and it became a cluster. And we were invited by the police department. The police department heard of our work with the police officers, so they asked us to come to the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, and work directly with the fire department and police department, and we did that. And then we found other handlers like Brad that were actually trained and that we could actually put in certain places. He dealt with that, we dealt with the first responder side. And we quickly learned that the mood of the department completely changed. We went to the fire department, the same fire department that had to tell the, I think, 18 children that got killed just a couple days ago. They had to tell 18 families that their child died. And it was mostly this one woman that had to do it. And she was on, they have a couch, I'm looking back at it right now, they have a couch inside the fire department. She was sitting on the couch. It was kind of like a crying couch. And if you really overcome, you came to that couch. And my dog walked up and crawled up on the couch and just laid on her. And if you ever had a 180-pound St. Bernard lay on you, you don't forget. It's quite, I think. And then a smile came to her face. And then we noticed that they were smiling, and then the mood of the department stopped being sorrowful and started gathering around our dogs, taking pictures of the dogs, and everybody smiling for the first time. There was one firefighter that asked me, they said that his child missed their dad because their dad was at the fire department for like 3 days in a row, never went home. But he felt that he had to be there at the fire department, and the child wanted daddy to come home, and mom too. So he asked me, he said, could you bring the dog out to meet my child? And we brought the dog out to meet the child. The child saw the dog and instantly said, Daddy's safe because he has the dog. And that's the type of work that we did. And then I thought to myself, I said, this is just magic. You know, I can't even express how this is happening. You guys all know that. You see that every day. How somebody says, how does it work? I'm like, I don't know, I just... You told me not to say it. I'm just with the dog. Almost slipped up. I'm just with the dog, and it's very hard to explain. And you can go into the scientific reasons why all of this works. But I thought to myself, why don't I bring this back to the community and share this with traumatic situations in my community? By then, I was already getting better, and I was working to go back to the road. So I went back to the road, and the department brought me back, and they said, you can come back, but you can't have your service done. And I'm like, okay, fine, I just need to go back to work, because I'm a police officer, and that's my thing, right? So I went back to work, and within a year, the dog started showing up. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and before you know it, the dog was now a police comfort dog. We swore him in. It was the first police comfort dog in the nation. If you Google that, you will see us in our pictures. And then we started working with Brad and K9 first responders, and also with our own department. And it was both of us too. It's not just me. It was a team effort. Before you know it, I was, like you said, we were going to Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Capitol, all of these. I went to a plane crash. You guys were just talking about a plane crash. We did a plane crash that happened in Bradley Field. And we worked with the Red Cross and working with the families. And then at home, I was working with, or she actually was working with families that were, that had a tragic fire. So there's this one particular family that, there was, I think, 4 kids, the mother and the father. And one of the child was sleeping downstairs on the parents' bed, the other 3 were upstairs. And the house caught on fire. The mother went upstairs to take care of the children. It was very cold out. She was putting the jackets on the children, and they overcome the smoke, and that everybody upstairs died. The one child lived because she was downstairs with dad. Now, that child now has to go to the funerals, has to be reintegrated into the school, has to be reintegrated into the community. And you know what she did the whole time? She talked about Clarence. She said, this dog's name is Clarence. Clarence is 180 pounds. He's a St. Bernard. He eats whatever he wants. And she had that whole spiel. And when she said the spiel, everybody forgot about her tragedy. And they reintegrated into the school, smiling and laughing rather than crying. So the ultimate, we went through this whole adventure for 10 years, and it was very rewarding. But then my dog started getting older and older, and St. Bernards usually last 8 to 10 years. My dog was 11 years old at this point, and he was really in good shape, Clarence. And Rosie had since passed. And then we got called to go to Washington, D.C. for an officer that was killed there and do the funeral. And one of the things I learned as a comfort dog handler is the best way of doing something is to get lost, by accidentally getting lost. And then you stumble into the best situations. So we got lost in the Capitol building, and we stumbled into the rotunda, right? So that is actually where the funeral was being held. We were able to go up to the casket, and there's a picture that landed all over the news of us at the casket with the dog. And then we stepped it back, and we were in the halls of statue, and President Biden came out, and Nancy Pelosi pointed to our dog. Chuck Schumer pointed to the dog. That dog is like this big. And then the president came over and kissed the dog on the forehead. And that was, I looked at my dog at that point and said, you're retired. That's it, you're at the pinnacle of your thing. So anyways, he lasted for about 6 more months, and then his hips gave out, and then he had to be put down. And the thing about that dog is he was magic. And you can't replicate magic. And if you have a dog that's magic, enjoy it while you have it, because it's very hard to get that again. And Clarence was magic. And the most honorable thing that happened, not only was is he in the mural in the state capitol, but they threw a flag over the state capitol on the day that he died in his honor, and they sent it to us. So we have up on our wall his flag and the certification that was flown over the United States state capitol. That's the kind of things that you guys are all doing. Let it happen. Find that magic, right? It changed our lives and more than we can do. Just my wife Laura, she was with me every step of that story. She was my savior. She saved me from PTSD along with Clarence. But she is now still handling the comfort dog, but she's doing a dual handler. She wants to talk a little bit about that. Not dual handler, dual purpose.
So currently I'm working with a bloodhound. Her and I have been a team for 3 years now. So her primary job is searching for missing people, missing children, people with Alzheimer's, etc., dementia. So we were actually just at a conference with the district attorney's office in Worcester, and they have a grant right now to assist agencies in having comfort dogs. So I got to go out and speak with them, and we also talked about how the bloodhound, even though they're a single-purpose dog normally, can also, if they have the right temperament, as you know, could also be a dual purpose as far as comfort work, which my girl has kind of already done, where we've had a case where a young boy ran out of a car, and we did the search, but in the end, he didn't want family or anyone making contact with him. So we were able to use my girl Ziva in going up and having the child connect with the dog, sitting with them, and just giving them the time they needed for him to be ready to be reunited with his family. So that's where our work is currently going. But I thank all of you for what you do, because you are the legacy. You're continuing what we led. So thank you very much. And thank you, Brad.